Hi, this is Ed from Exotic Blanks. Today we're doing a video to satisfy my curiosity. We just got in the pirate bone blanks, and I wanted to find out what they look like inside that blank. So the purpose of this was to find out how they turn and see what the pen would look like. So stick with us, it's going to be kind of fun. When you initially look at the blank, it shows the two eyes at the two ends, and I was curious what was inside there because obviously you're looking for what the pen's going to look like. So we cut it in half, and after I cut it in half, I found that there was more of the bone, or what they call the bone, on the edge. So I was concerned, is it going to turn out looking like it's got just a little bone in it? So here's what it turns out looking like. Hate to take away the suspense, but want you to know that it will be worth watching the video because it was rather interesting and I learned a few things. So let's get right into it. The material is Alumilite, and so of course you start turning it as fast as the lathe will turn comfortably. And I start on one end and bring it down close to the bushing and then go to the other end. It's not difficult. As you can see, everything comes off in ribbons right off the bat. What I'm using is a skew that I just sharpened, but it doesn't make a lot of difference how you turn it down. It's just a matter of turning it down, getting it close to the size that you want before you do some kind of facing of the blank. I don't use pen mills anymore, so for me it's first take the pen down to the right size, then take off the ends and square them, and then finish up the turning and sand and so forth. When I got it down this far, you can see that the blank looks quite good. There's a little bone here, a little bone there, and at the same time you have the pretty blue background. It's a really nicely made blank. Now, one of the questions that I expect people are going to ask is, what about the difference in density between the bone and the Alumilite? Frankly, because I was turning at a high rate of speed, the lathe is turning around 4,000 RPM. I don't think you notice the difference in one material versus another. So from a turning point of view, I didn't find that to be any problem at all. If you're uncomfortable with turning at this speed, that might create some problems for you, but honestly, the faster the thing is going, the less likely you are to be able to push in at the wrong time. So it's relatively simple. Turning was no big deal, and it only took a couple of minutes to get it down to a really nice looking pen. Now, to complete the pen, I just sand it with 400 grit first, and then follow the 400 grit with 600 grit. I use Klingspor paper. I've found that it's been very successful for me, so I also only do dry sanding. I don't wet sand. You can do anything you want to. I just don't see any real reason for it. If you are building up heat, then you're sanding too long. The sanding should only be a couple of seconds, and it certainly shouldn't build up heat. So the 400 is done, the 600, and as you can see, you have the bone there, or the material that they're using. It is softer. The next pens I make with this material, I will probably stop the lathe after doing the first sanding and put thin CA into that material that is supposed to look like bone. That hopefully would harden it. What happened with this is after I took it off the lathe and went to the buffer, it picked up a lot of the color of the Tripoli wheel. It turned it browner than it was originally. So I probably would try putting some thin CA on that to kind of combat that additional brown being added to it. And actually the buffing made it nice and shiny everywhere except on that softer bone looking material. that really didn't take a good shine. It still is a really nice looking pen, but those are the things that I would do differently. I would reinforce that with thin CA, and then when I buff it, I don't think I'm going to have the problem with the triple E moving off and creating a browner look than I particularly wanted. So the actual buffing time on this was 2 minutes and 15 seconds total. I didn't break it down to the triple E and the white diamond, but the triple E took a little bit longer, and I tried to take out a flat spot, or a spot that looked like it had some marks on it in the bone section, and I actually buffed it to the point where it was a little bit flat and did not come back. So one of the things I learned is when you buff it, be a little careful with it. As I say, I would reinforce in the future with CA on that bone section, and I think that will resolve the problem. I have one actually glued up and in the shop ready to do later on tonight to find out if I'm right. So we'll have more information on it. That was me flipping the blank end to end, so we're nearly finished doing the buffing. I realize that it actually buffs in the same direction when you flip it end for end, but it makes me feel better. I get closer to both ends, and I feel like I get a more uniform buff. This is what the pen looks like, or what the blank looks like when you're finished. It was a really nice looking and very unusual. As you can see, it's got a pretty blue, and the pirate bone is prominent, and it should be an interesting pen. I think that it will do well. So we thank Neil Lyon for the new idea, and you can find these pens on Exotic Blank, or these blanks on exoticblanks.com. What a surprise that wasn't. At any rate, thanks a lot for watching. This is Ed. Hope you have a great time turning. Bye now.